Hi, I'm Abigail, and I'm a theater kid. That's my thing. That's what I'm known for. That's my icebreaker, my introduction. I'm not known for my love of 80s dad rock, my skills in realistic drawing, or being named after Abigail Adams. The majority of the people in this room didn't know those things about me because I don't tell people that. I don't say any of those things because I already have my introduction. And in 2 months, I'll have my first day at a new school, again, and I'll say it, again. One thing about me, I'm a theater kid. When you're the new kid, what's your introduction, your icebreaker? And don't think that you don't have one, because we all have one. Why do we do this? Well, because we're teens, we have to fit in. What other option do we have, right? But the reality is that we have a lot more options than we think we do. It took me years to feel comfortable with saying I'm a theater kid because I wanted to fit in. Theater kids are often affiliated with pick-me's and weirdos. I didn't want to be one. And that's what I'm here to talk about with you today, fitting in. Not how to fit in, but why it's total BS. But before I can tell you why, I have to explain to you how. 41% of teens feel significant pressure just to fit in socially. That's what Pew Research Center has to say about us, and they're not wrong. Indiana University reports that 51% of teens feel pressure to keep up with their physical appearance and trends. That is 650 million teens that feel the exact same pressures we do. Clearly, we are not alone. We are stuck in an endless game of charades that none of us can ever win. We're all wearing masks, and I know what you're thinking. We're high schoolers, that's how it works. And I agree with you. Believe me, I agree with you. Because we've grown up in a society where authenticity doesn't exist. That's why we have an introduction. That's why you have a go-to thing that you probably haven't changed in years. But I'm here today hoping to make you all realize that this character we put on at school and in life is far less meaningful than the person behind the mask. I knew someone who wouldn't take off the mask and ended up destroying all of his relationships like a wrecking ball because of it. To protect his privacy, I'm just going to call him my friend. My friend was a weirdo, an outcast. For 4 years, I watched him become small, scared, and fit into an image others created for him. He tried his entire life to fit in, to be one of the guys. I watched him struggle for 4 years, including once I moved here, to be someone he wasn't. He is a prime example of someone who got trapped in this endless cycle of trying to fit in, be cool, and transform yourself into someone you're not. The last time I spoke to him, he was switching schools, and all he could talk about was how excited he was to finally fit in. He and I were best friends for 4 years, but he became so obsessed with this self-constructed image that he began to take me down with him. And I knew that was a friendship I had to escape. As I was researching for this talk, I came across this quote from the Salt Lake Tribune newspaper that says, "I started to just do everything for everybody else rather than doing it for myself." I knew I had to incorporate this because it reminded me of him immediately. But the more I thought about it, the more I could name so many other people who I know can relate to this quote too. At ISB, it feels as though we can get trapped in that cycle of fitting in very easily. All of us in this room go to an international school. So how can we all expect to fit into one category? It's quite literally in the name, international. At ISB, we are an international community. But I suggest we start to shift toward becoming an interpersonal community, telling each other something besides our introduction, our experiences, our stories. I'm suggesting this because I've lived in a lot of different places. I've tried fitting in a lot of different places. During my 6th and 7th grade in Morocco, I was heavily bullied. I moved to Thailand and ended up struggling for more than half of my time here to fit in and seem cool. Would I be a sports kid, an arts kid, a nerdy kid? Would I hang with the popular girls or the smaller groups? What I ask is what I go on. Am I going to have one friend or 100? Every time I move, I ask myself these questions. And I finally started to realize, who cares? I don't care if you swim or if you dance. I don't care if you have more or less followers than me on Instagram. I don't care who you sit with at lunch or if you take extended or core math. Do you? Do you actually care? I want to know who the person behind that mask is. All we do is hide and isolate ourselves from each other. But why? What's the point? There really isn't one. So today I offer you a challenge. Take off the mask. Try a different introduction and start showing us the person inside, because I bet that person is way cooler and totally not BS. So I'll start. Hi, I'm Abby. I love 80s dad rock. I'm really into realistic drawing, and I love ducks. Thank you.